Hello everyone and welcome back to Experience Kills. This is episode 44, which I am tentatively going to title Epilogue. This is a very special episode. This is going to be our final piece of content on the channel in any regular sense, at least for now. I'd never say never, but it's looking like this is game over, man. Game over. So I'm going to do some introductions because there's so many of us on this podcast today, and I'm going to start with, obviously, I'm your host Ben. I've been here since pretty much day one, and looking at the metrics, over 500 videos deep, which is kind of insane, but couldn't have done any of that without my co-founder Richard. You can speak.
I should probably speak, shouldn't I?
Probably.
I'm doing a thumbs up on video.
Works well for the audio
44
listeners.
episodes. I should know better. Yes, you couldn't have done any of it without me, which is a lie, really, isn't it? You could, because you're very good at it, and I'm very sorry that you're stopping. So,
it's very kind.
Yeah, not down to me. If it was, if I had to say, we would be continuing. I dare say we will be back, because I can't see you giving it up forever, to be honest, Ben.
I think you're probably right, but the main reason I wanted to do this today is because I don't like leaving people, waiting for stuff when it might be an amount of time without definition. So yeah, I think that's just unfair. So that was part of the reason for this decision, I suppose. But also joining us today, the next most long-standing member of the team, in and out of Experience Kills for many years. I think how long was it you first did that first video, Cameron? When did you do that first video?
6 years ago, I think it was.
Wow,
Essentially.
it's crazy, man.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in and out with probably over the last 4 years now, because of different situations, new family getting started and stuff, and new jobs taking precedent. But did always hope I'd maybe be able to come back for a podcast or two.
Well, you got one.
I've got this one.
You got this one, brother.
Well, this one is fine. Yeah.
So next on the list of introductions is someone who I brought on board to help me collaborate with me and help us do the weekly show. And frankly, it was the only way that we hit 44 episodes. Well, we'll say 43 weekly episodes. Obviously, it's been ages since we did one. But 43 weekly episodes, and nearly an entire year, approaching an entire year of podcasts. And that is a very important collaborator, Rob. Welcome to the final one, Rob.
Hello. 43 weeks of podcasts, jeez.
We didn't miss one, did we?
No, I didn't.
No.
Yeah, you and I were in every single one.
That's crazy. That's crazy that we were able to do that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. No, it's a real achievement. So that was pretty cool. I had a lot of fun doing that with you. But now I'm gonna introduce someone who is a bit of a sort of like a dark horse here, because I guess you guys only just met him, right? Because he's come onto this podcast, this special episode, final episode, and that's Nathan, who has been my co-host on our little sister podcast, Circling the Vortex, for, well, technically, 5 years? The first season was a very, very long time ago, and we came back this year and did the second season of Sliders. And yeah, it was our podcast where we rewatched Sliders, and for some reason people really enjoyed it, Nathan. So thank you so much for doing that with me as well.
It's okay. This is my first and last one, so this will be fun.
Hi, and also bye. And
I feel like your shameful secret.
well, I just think never the twain should meet, because I always like the idea of having a bit of a different selection of content on Experience Kills, so it wasn't just video game stuff. And it's been a big success. So I think Circling the Vortex specifically, and frankly, we stopped before it got really shit. So that there is that.
Do it. I've still not seen it all, have I?
But final mention here, last but by far means not least, the amazing Leah, who joined on a few of the last few podcasts, has done a few video reviews with me, and has really discovered a passion for podcasting, to the point of that she's keen to do other sort of podcasting maybe in the future, in another guise around other things I don't want to spoil or talk about right now, but I know she started as a big fan of the show. So how you doing, Leah?
Yeah, it's sad. Boo.
It is sad, isn't it?
It is.
Boo.
Boo.
But it's also, I mean, nothing lasts forever. everything changes. That's why when I did a tweet promoting this, I did put the Take That song as a link on the tweet. I hope you all enjoyed a little bit of Take That there to cheer you up on a Sunday morning. However, it's sad, but it at the same time inevitable, I suppose, in a weird way. I'll just say from my reason, it was a case of, so when I really got into doing this stuff, and it was with Richard and stuff, it was a passion because I had a shitty job. I desperately needed a creative outlet that I felt I had some control over, and it was a great way of distracting myself from just the crushing mundanity of life. And now I've got a much better career going on. I'm really enjoying my work, and I'm putting a lot more of my focus and interest into that. And I felt like Experience Kills was suffering because of that. So I didn't want it just to limp along, lame, because I couldn't put the time into it. I feel like that's the worst thing, and it's already been. I think our last podcast was in August, and we're now mid-October. So we've already disappeared for several months, and I didn't want it just to hang out there. And in that time, I tried a few different types of video format and stuff, and just couldn't find the passion for it anymore. So rather than just keeping on, decided to give it the old death certificate. So yeah.
When you retire, when you're really old, we can do it again.
I suppose we
I'll
might
be dead by then.
I suppose, like Richard said, he doesn't think I'm going to be able to stay away for too long, and he's probably right, because I do love talking about games and chatting with you guys. But it's a case of, if we come up with an idea, if we want to, I'm not going to delete the YouTube page. That's not going anywhere. I think the podcast feed will disappear in a few months when I decide to stop paying for it. Basically, couldn't tell you exactly when that will be. But the website will go away. We've turned off the auto renew on that already. So it's like, if things come back, they'll start on the YouTube page and stuff, and all the videos will still be there for people who want to look up videos. And honestly, looking at the page, it's gone up and down a bit recently, but people, I think last 28 days we've had like 5,000 views. Numbers are still pretty good. Subs are still growing, if slowly, because the content's not being produced. It's doing all right. It's doing all right, and it may well just continue to do all right. But it's quite an achievement. Like I said, I can't believe 500 videos, or more than that. That's crazy in the years we've been doing it. So that's the news. I don't want this to all be about sadness though and stuff. So who wants to hit us off with Richard? Why don't you start? Talk about memories of us doing stuff together, or favorite videos, or stuff like that.
It goes back so far, it's difficult to know where to start, but we've been working on this and playing Xbox predominantly and on all sorts of stuff since the early 2000s, right? So we're at Xbox, the original and best Xbox UK fan site emerged in 2000. What would it be? 3
or 4? Yeah.
We met on there.
We did.
And started playing Xbox Live games. Eventually got into being on the staff on Brit Xbox, being moderators, writing articles for them. That was a great time. Enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That lasted a long time until it didn't. And
lots of drama along the way.
Yeah, lots of e-drama.
Oh, so much
and
e-drama.
Then branched off into doing our own thing. So yeah, we've stuck around together. I think we'll be back at some point sooner or later.
Yeah,
but, it's been good.
Those times were great. I mean, the opportunities, getting to go to Leipzig in 2007 as press, and do things like interviewing the developers of Mass Effect before it even came out. That will always be my number one industry highlight of doing anything. That will always stay with me, and I wouldn't have had that opportunity without Brit Xbox. So regardless of the drama and its kind of implosion, as always happens with those type of sites, especially in the early parts of this millennium. And nobody thought, so when the one before me editor-in-chief left that site, nobody thought anybody was going to keep it going. Me and you did, basically just the two of us, for quite a while. Then there was a catastrophic data loss issue, and then we just canned the whole thing and came back as we did come back as Experience Kills. We came back as BXB Games, And then we dropped that moniker and rebranded and did a fresh take as Experience Kills. And I'm really proud of Experience Kills as a brand. I think that's a great name. I think that's not something I'm gonna leave. I'll keep that domain and stuff like that. I think it's a nice title that could mean so many things. It doesn't just mean gaming. So I definitely think we'll hold on to that. But I guess it's just time. You get older and you get into doing stuff and work and stuff, and you find that career that you're interested in. And I know you've been, Richard, I mean, like, you've been crazy busy, your work, and obviously Richard stood as a politician, trying to make the world a better place and all of that stuff, which was massive. So
it's funny, your timing is terrible, because I might have a new job on the horizon potentially, don't know yet, but if I get that, it might mean I have more time, perversely, because I might have to take a bit of a step back in other areas of my life. So it's almost full reset for me if this job comes through. Losing this positive as well.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, I can't really say much about it because I don't know if I'm going to get it. But
now you're definitely not getting my vote.
you might not have a choice next year if that pans out. But yeah, lots of change.
Wow.
Around.
But that's it, isn't it? That's it. Change. And my thing for me is I'm quite enjoying just being, for the first time in what feels like decades, just playing games for fun and not for critical appraisal. Do you know what I mean? It is nice to be able to do that. And that's certainly the last few months.
To be able to waste time on stuff that you wouldn't play because you think, well, I'm not going to be able to talk about Alien Isolation in 2021. I can't play that, but I have done in the past couple of weeks. You go back to stuff that you actually want to play without having to worry about how you're going to sell that.
No, yep. I'm still I'm terribly guilty of newest, latest, best. I mean, I'm playing Far Cry 6 right now, for example. Don't know why I bought that. I bought it, but we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll get into games, I'm sure. But no, I'm always going to be. I'd like to actually finish some games occasionally. That would be nice. I can't remember the last time I finished a game. So that would be a hell of a thing. But so it's difficult to pick a particular moment. But like, I want to talk to Cameron and Rob and Leah now, because one of the things I'm really proud of that we achieved in the last few months and this year was the Mass Effect series of special podcasts that we did. And I thought that was one of the coolest things. Look, it didn't get the biggest numbers, but from hanging out with your mates, enjoying the greatest franchise of games ever made perspective, I think that was awesome. That was so cool. I loved doing those with you guys.
It was.
It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was an incredible experience. Because I was completely fresh to the whole Mass Effect series, and couldn't believe I'd left it so long to actually play any of them. It was incredible. All three of them. The fact that Rob managed to squeeze, was it the first game into like
one in 8 hours?
8 hours. That's a speed run, isn't it? That one.
I don't think I've ever seen Ben and Leah so frustrated, surprised, and kind of impressed at the same time. Because it's like, you can do that. I think that's probably, that whole trio of podcasts is still one of my favourite moments from doing the entire thing, all the way from next gen launch all the way through to now. I think that's probably my standout moment, because I don't think I've ever had that chance to play through a series of games in such a compact time frame with friends and then talk about them, rather than, oh yeah, you played the new Halo, yeah, I've played it, rather than having that chance to sit down, we've all played 1, dissect, we've all played 2, dissect. Having that experience was amazing.
I mean, for me, it was just because I'd played them before. I really enjoyed Cam never played them before, and just how much you enjoyed it and how much you were blown away by it. And I was slightly horrified and yet impressed at the same time that you managed to do the first one in 8 hours, because god damn, you have to do a proper replay though.
I will at some point. I want to do Andromeda as well, because I've not done Andromeda.
I mean, you guys, Cam and Rob, you did all 3 games in like 2 weeks, yeah? It's what it came down to, about 2 weeks.
2.5, I think, yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, I think it's fair on Rob to say, I'm going to take a little... I will, but at some point. Because that's a lot of Mass Effect.
I will do a replay. It's going to be in a while.
Yeah. That's so crazy. I mean, but that's what doing a podcast and producing content for the internet does. It gives you those crazy, silly opportunities that you come up with. I can't remember how we came to that. I know. I'd always said, right, didn't I? I'd always said, Cameron, if there was going to be a re-release of Mass Effect remaster, I'd buy you a copy, right?
Yeah.
And I did that, and I bought.
Yes,
yeah. And then we used that as an excuse to, and you didn't have a choice really at that point because I bought you a copy of the game. But it was a case of, right, so let's do some content for this. And I think Rob is the one that actually came up with the idea of doing that replay, but probably not in that condensed a time period. I think I did that because Cameron had to start his new job. So it was a case of we need to get all of this in before Cam goes off and starts his new job. So it became a crazy race to try and do it, which was just nuts. Like, I don't think I've done anything like that before either. So that was
like we all figured out that we were all going to be getting it. We were all going to be playing it. So we might as well play it all together. And I think probably the first time I suggested like it half as a joke, going, "Yeah, let's play all of them in a row. Yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be fun." And then you kind of ran with the idea and was like, "Oh, oh shit.
Oh, he's doing it.
Okay.
Oh, we're doing it then, are we? Oh god. Oh god.
It was took time off work for that.
We were going to do, was it all through, do a podcast about all three of them at once.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then we go, why don't we do it for each one of them? And then we did, and it was amazing.
One of the few video games I've ever spent time off for. Because generally I don't. I've never been the person that's like, oh, the new expansion of X is coming out today. I'll go and take a day off for it. No, I'll just play it when I get home. But yeah, it's the few times I've gone, right, I need time off work.
It's yes, you know it's bad when you're doing that. Yeah, for a website. Yeah, you know it's bad when you do that. But no, at the same time, best games. You know, probably the best games ever made. Right, that series. So worth it. Nathan, I want to talk to you, Nathan, now. Yeah, hello. We do a weird thing, right? Don't we? Like I mentioned at the top, we.
Well, I thought we wouldn't talk about this.
No, the one that's the public weird thing. Public weird thing, Nathan. Don't get me in trouble more. But we rewatched, me, you, and another gentleman called Curtis. We rewatched the first season of Sliders together and did a podcast on that.
You rewatched?
Well, you'd never seen them before. That was like
I went in fresh.
4 years ago, the first season. Now.
I think the first season came out like 90s, Ben.
Well, when we watched it 4 years ago, you smart little bastard.
It felt like the 90s.
Is that about right? 3-4 years ago? It was a long time ago, anyway.
I think so. I know it was a fair bit before the happening.
And then stuff went down, and we didn't do season 2 until this year, right? I nailed you down. I think it was a great excuse, lockdowns and stuff, and I was like, reach out to my buddy Nathan. Let's do season 2 of Sliders. And we watched this 90s TV show that many people don't know about, but surprisingly there is a passionate fan base for on the internet, and we've had a blast doing it. I mean, it's been great, mate. I've loved doing it with you.
It's been a fun but interesting experience, Ben. I really have enjoyed it, but it's just a weird TV show.
It's not very good, is it? Most of it.
I like it, but I don't know if that's just where I've been, forced to sit down and watch it. I've grown to like it, Stockholm Syndrome style.
Probably a bit of that.
Always a great advert for a show. Yeah, Stockholm Syndrome is what got me really enjoying it.
I mean, isn't that why people are still watching The Walking Dead? I mean, it's like it seems to have. If you've invested enough time, you feel obliged to continue, don't you? It's this weird.
People are still watching The Walking Dead.
Yeah, loads people. But we foolishly went back and we got 2 seasons through. We got the 2 good seasons done, right? And things just deteriorate more and more and more and more. And I won't spoil it for you. I do hope you go back and you do watch more of it at some point.
I'm going to save it for Series 3, Circling the Vortex, Ben.
Okay. Well, you never know. Another 3 years, maybe. Who knows?
Have you enjoyed it, though, Ben?
I have. I've enjoyed more than anything. I've enjoyed talking about it with you after watching it. Because sometimes watching those episodes was, like, very painful, considering how good TV is now.
Yes.
Yeah. but it's been fun in it as well. It's definitely been fun. It's been an experience. And to all of the fans out there of Circling the Vortex, thank you for amazingly coming back. So many of you after 3 years of us being away, and there were certain fans that kept asking for it to come back as well, which I was blown away by that. Like there were people that really wanted to hear me and you talk about a kind of weird 90s TV show. But no, thank you for that. Yeah, like so throughout now, I think we're going to talk about some games we've been playing and stuff. If you guys have got any, bits that have been happening in video game land, feel free to chuck it out. I mean, Activision Blizzard, hopefully Bobby Kotick will be fired soon, etc., etc. But anything at all. I mean, I want to talk a bit about some of the games that I've been playing. Like I've been playing some Far Cry 6. I've been playing some Rift Breakers. I've been playing a few big games and stuff. That's not going to change, I don't think. Just less time. So
while we're on a downer,
is that because I said Far Cry 6? Yeah, okay.
Well, just the general vibe is a bit fatalist and moribund at the moment, isn't it? But let's bring it up. I just want to get something awful out of the way first. So OLED Switch is out. I have got one. You're supposed to go woo.
Richard, we all talked about this on the podcast about how none of us were going to buy one. It was a waste of time and a waste of money.
I've known you were going to be admonished for this.
We can't, in good conscience, cheer you on for that waste of money. I'm sorry.
You can't. I can. Apparently, the machine is just better than the normal Switch. So I'm curious to hear Richard's hands-on time with the OLED because it's been selling like hotcakes in Japan and stuff.
It's sold really well, and it is a solid device. It's nice. I wouldn't say it's better than the original Switch in any meaningful way. It just looks nice. It's really sharp, bright, nice glass screen, so it just feels pristine. I like the kickstand. I don't know if I'll ever use it, but I like it. It's just a bit of a letdown, and you guys will probably find this really hilarious. But the overriding experience that I've had with the OLED Switch is losing my entire save game for Animal Crossing because
it's hardware tied, isn't it?
Now I get a woo. Yeah,
it's tied to the device.
It doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell you.
Oh, you didn't know that? Oh, I knew that.
I think I sort of knew ages ago, and then having gone through the transfer process with my new Switch, thought, oh, it's done it. I don't need to do anything else. Because it does not warn you at all. It just transfers everything. It says, yeah, there you go. That's done. And you can choose to transfer either as a second console, or you can say, I'm never going to use my old Switch again, which is the case for me. And if you choose that, then it disables you from launching any games that you own on that console, because you're not going to be using it anymore.
Oh.
So I don't know what the process is for making Animal Crossing saves go across properly, but I missed it. This is like a public service warning. If you are getting an OLED, make sure you check that first.
Knowing Nintendo, there might not even be a proper process. So
no, there is a process. There is a process because I've complained to them, and they've said that they will only help me restore the data because they have got it. If I had lost my Switch or it was stolen, then they would help me. But having bought a new console from them and the fault is not mine, they won't help.
Could your old Switch not get stolen?
Lose it
I've
on
purpose. I've told
Yeah.
them now. I've told them, and they can probably, I'm guessing, well, maybe not, it's Nintendo. I'm guessing they can probably track that I've done a factory reset on the old one.
Jesus. That is some bullshit.
Is there not
Appalling,
like,
isn't it?
Is there not like an online upload data service like
there is. Yeah, there is. So the Nintendo Online subscription allows you to save all of your saves to the cloud, which includes Animal Crossing. But the Animal Crossing saves are a distinct process away from everything else. So when you transfer your saves from the cloud on every other game, that's fine. But it doesn't tell you Animal Crossing's not part of that, and there's some other process entirely that you have to carry out. And if you don't follow it, and your Switch wasn't stolen, then too bad. Even though I'm literally paying them to keep my save, they won't let me have it.
That's insane.
Sounds like very Nintendo, though.
What the hell is that? I don't even have words for that, mate. That is proper mental. That is crazy.
The worst. But yeah, the screen is nice.
Well, what you playing? What you got? Metroid.
No, not yet. There's a game-breaking bug in Metroid apparently that is being patched by the end of October, so I'm waiting until that's.
I've read and heard quite a lot of coverage of it. People are, they say it's good if short, like it's about 7-8 hours long.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's what everybody's saying. Yeah.
No, looks great though. But I'm trying to catch up on some old stuff. So Super Mario 3D World really pops on the screen. Just everything looks really crisp. It's not so much the size of the screen, although it is bigger. Just looks a hell of a lot better. So yeah.
Is it with you? I want to see it.
I can grab it. It's not far away.
Well, as Richard goes and gets that, I'll mention that the reports coming out of quite a few, reputable sources say that there are actual 4K Nintendo Switch dev kits on site in various developers, and it's so weird that it didn't get made. It's so weird.
It is odd that they didn't take that leap, but Nintendo do Nintendo things. So
I suspect it's them looking at the pipeline, isn't it? The
that does look swish.
So for people listening and not watching, Richard is now showing to the camera his OLED Switch, and it does look. I mean, that's that kickstand. Look at that kickstand.
That is the kickstand.
It's very large kickstand now, which is not shit, which is nice. Just
nice metal kickstand.
Ooh, fancy.
Very sturdy.
Fancy.
I think in the event my Switch breaks, I would get an OLED one, but my Switch currently functions, so I don't need to.
My Switch just here currently has a layer of dust on it because I use it that often. So
I'll be using mine in October. Not in October, in November.
Yeah, mine's behind me, ready and waiting. And it's even in a little Pokemon charger.
Mine's in a shop, waiting to be bought.
How about you, Nathan? Where's yours?
Nintendo, the old ones sell for quite a lot of money, don't they? Still, you can get a decent amount back if you wanted to trade in for an OLED.
I have a question for you. Did I have a PS5 the last time we did this? Can't remember.
Yeah, you did.
Yes. I'm very much in Deathloop. Very good, by the way. Richard, did you pick up a copy in the end?
No, I haven't yet. Okay. I have a huge backlog of games to get through before I pick up anything else, which is why I haven't got Metroid, although I desperately want it.
Definitely.
I'll wait to come to Game Pass.
I mean, it's a long wait, but I mean, it's fair enough. If you don't have PlayStation, that's absolutely viable, isn't it? But it's a case of it's my favourite arcane thing. Yeah, I just want to. I want to mention it because I know when I was talking to Richard about it, he had the same reservations I did, which was that didn't love Dishonored series. They're good. You can appreciate that they're good, but you didn't connect with them. I certainly didn't. I really like Prey though, but I didn't finish it. But this one is the most accessible sort of iteration of that immersive sim formula that they've done so far. It's a really what's so fun about it is it feels unique. Like I haven't played a game quite like it. Obviously, I've played run-based roguelite games, but not with an immersive sim twist, which has also got a really involved narrative. So I think it's truly impressive title, and it's just fun to play. It feels really good, the shooting and the stealth and the action and all of it. Yeah, really, really cool game. Before I come back to more of what I've been playing, Cam, have you been playing anything?
Yeah, I mean, like, I've got a new job, so it's kind of hard for me to get a lot of game time in. But what I do is I've got a friend of mine who usually has the mornings off as well, and the afternoons because he works nights. So we've been doing a lot of co-op games. We've recently just finished an entire run of the old Resident Evil 5 together.
Oh, brilliant! That's a great co-op game.
It is brilliant co-op. Yep.
We did Dead Space 3.
Nice.
We're working our way.
So jealous.
We're working our way through Resident Evil 6 right now, and from what I've been told, that's one of the most balls out crazy ones of them to play, basically. So I'm like, can't wait for that. Let's bring the mood down again.
All right.
What Richard done, because I've started playing The Last of Us 2. That on the PS Now that's available, and I'm in context to how far in I am. I'm not entirely sure, but my God, there are some questionable actions in that game, isn't there?
However far in you think you are, you're half the way that you think you are.
Good way to put it, yeah. So yeah, I've been trying to get through that, but I typically only really have like maybe 3 or 4 hours spare to play nowadays with my schedule. So it's kind of difficult when you want to have like a really long play session. I used to devote hours to Skyrim in the old days, but that would be like from one village to another. But nowadays it's like, oh well, found a new location. I'll wait outside, save, and now I have to go. That's pretty much it. So it's been slow going for me, unfortunately. It's one of the main reasons why I haven't been on podcasts and such for the last couple of months.
Hey, I feel you. I think we can all relate to that. Yeah, Last of Us Part 2 is on my backlog now that I've got it. I've got it downloaded on the PS5. I know it's enhanced and stuff for that. So I really want to give that a go. Same with Horizon Zero Dawn. I want to finish that before the sequel comes out and things like that. I'm quite looking forward to doing that. Going around that is Nathan. I mean, Nathan, as well as watching terrible 90s TV shows, does also play games.
I do the gaming.
Yeah.
I've not been doing console gaming though.
That's all right.
After my Xbox black screened, which I have fixed.
Oh, nice.
I had to spend most of a night re-downloading or resyncing game saves. But it's not. I'd left it at my parents' house. I just couldn't be bothered with it for a bit. I've been PC gaming.
What have you been doing?
I've been Rainbow Sixing.
Ooh, Siege.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
I'm surprised that it could run that. So it's alright on the console, but yeah, it definitely feels. What's the word?
More responsive.
Yeah, more responsive on the PC. It's a bit. I wouldn't say harder, but yeah, it's got a bit more
mouse and keyboard thing. Well, you can do that on console now, can't you?
I heard that they didn't allow it, or was it something with sick?
Allow MK.
What was that
for all the games, or
I believe so that it's compatible. Yes.
Oh, I'll have to check. I've heard
having mouse and keyboard. If there's a cross-play between PC and PS, and keyboards are allowed on PC, that's just an unfair advantage, I feel.
So KBM support on Xbox is about, I'd say, up to about like 9% of the games. It's still very, very low, and it's not always. You'd think, for example, like the 4X games, like Stellaris and whatnot, would support it. But I actually went through a thing a few months ago where I was testing that out, and the vast majority don't support KBM. It's really weird. But like a few do, like Gears. I think Gears Tactics does, and I don't know about Siege. I didn't test that, but it may or may not. Yeah, but it's weird. It's not consistently supported, but a lot of them are, but a lot of them aren't as well. I'm trying to think. I've also been playing a lot on PC as well recently. Did you guys check out the Steam Fest demos and stuff like that? I tried a few of those. I played the Starship Troopers RTS demo, which was really good. I love Starship Troopers though.
Okay.
Would there really be that many units? Just like guys and bugs?
Well, there's lots of different types of bugs and lots of different types of guys with sniper rifles and flamethrowers.
Is it going book troopers or film troopers?
It's kind of what. So it's the guys that made the Battlestar Galactica game, Deadlock, which is one of my all-time favorite sort of strategy action games on PC and console, and they're doing the similar thing with Starship Troopers, where they're sort of inspired by the films, but also taking influence from the books and the other materials to like flesh it out, but it still feels really authentic. So yeah, I really like the demo a lot.
In the books, you've got like the suit and that, but in the film, it's literally just grunts. That's it.
Would you like to know more?
I would always like to know more. Very good reference there, Cameron. Very, very good.
It depends which movie you're talking about, because there's been about 4, and they progressively got worse and worse.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I also smashed the crap out of Humankind when it came out on Game Pass on PC, which was the new kind of Civ competitor, and I thought it was okay. I still prefer Civ. I think it's got some work to go when it comes to their updates and expansions for it. I want to know, did everybody get around to playing Doki Doki Literature Club and actually finishing it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I did like one or 2 runs, and I got too spooked.
That game is mental weird. Everybody should play that game.
kept seeing it pop up, like Ben's playing, and I was like, oh cool, Ben's playing a book club game. That's nice. I haven't played it, so I don't know what it's about.
That is exactly the right frame of mind to go into that game.
Yeah,
100%.
pretty much.
You need to play it now with that train of thought.
I've just remembered what the game is I played on PC the very most. I put 60 hours into Cookie Clicker on Steam. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, what?
I mean, for Steam games and 60 hours, that's rookie numbers.
I know. It's not your Destiny numbers, I know, but 60 hours on Cookie Clicker because
It's not even
I wanted an
half
idle
my
game.
numbers.
I wanted an idle game, it's nice. I remembered it when it was on browsers. Do you remember Cookie Clicker, guys, or are you all like, what is he talking about?
No, I remember. There's
Not a
variations
clue.
in it, weren't there? But yeah, it's where you you click, and then you get a cookie,
Mm-hmm.
and you can make boxes of cookies and then ultimately factories of cookies or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, you get up to like
Forever.
other dimensions of cookies and
Yeah.
time travel cookies, and it's a whole thing. But then I was like, I got to the end game and prestiged, and I was like, you know what, I think I'm gonna walk away now.
You prestige on
What did you get when you prestige?
You get to start at the beginning again, but with a bonus cookie production, so you then just
It's like-
start again.
It's like Call of Duty cookies. He gets prestige rank 1.
I mean,
Oh
yeah.
man, that's crazy.
I think I got
I
prestige
might
20.
give it a
Congrats.
miss.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
I really achieved a lot there. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes.
I might give it a miss, I'll be honest.
I mean, unless you have nostalgia for it, probably best. It was only like £3, so I didn't really mind. But
Paid
Oh
for
my
it.
God, you paid for it.
Oh god.
oh yeah, I paid for it. Yeah. I paid for it. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's the worst part.
Well, I got 60 hours out of it. I don't feel bad. I mean,
You should feel bad.
several-
If it's cookie clicking.
like quite a lot of those hours were me leaving it running overnight. But there you go, to get my
that's cheating.
cookies up. But that's what you do with idle games. That's how you play them. It's
You
just you want
download
bigger
them,
numbers.
get bored of them for an hour, and then delete them and never play them
You
again.
gotta get bigger numbers, man. Always get the bigger numbers.
I was
You
actually
could've bought
looking- I was
two
looking
packets
through-
of cookies for that, Ben.
I went through my Steam library the other week to see what I'd actually played the longest,
Hmm.
and I think it was probably Arma 3. I've been playing on and off with friends over the last like
Blimey.
4 or 5 years. It's nearly 250 hours, maybe 300 hours to that.
Can we not talk too long about length of games that we play, because it's triggering me a bit with my Animal Crossing long.
Well,
425 hours.
And you lost it all. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
The only thing I was going to say is that I bought The Binding of Isaac during lockdown, the first lockdown we had, when I was working for Vodafone upstairs with a laptop talking to customers, and which I was definitely focusing on at the same time, by the way. But my playtime for The Binding of Isaac, I checked last week, was 180 hours, which I'd done in like the last year and a bit, rather than the last 5 years I played with friends. That game is apparently addictive by the sounds of it.
My most
Unlike
played
Cookie
games-
Cutter, you actually got paid to play that as well.
I did,
Well
I
done.
did, and there wasn't a single bloody cookie in sight.
I know Mom's
didn't leave
Cookie
it
is
running
probably an
overnight.
item somewhere.
We know what your most played game is, though, Rob. We all.
Oh, really?
It's if it's not Destiny, I'll be upset.
On Steam, it's not. No,
Oh,
not even close.
Oh, what is it? What is it? Oh no,
it's-
Warhammer Total War.
Yeah. Total War Warhammer 2, 611.8 hours.
It's not bad.
Double what I've played on Steam Destiny.
I really hope that's just one campaign.
I've not finished one yet.
I kind of never do though. I was doing that with Total War Shogun 2 because I got into that a few months back, and I got like I'm the emperor, and I've like taken over like half of Japan. It's like, well, I mean, I could keep going, but why?
It gets to the point where you're steamrolling everything,
Yeah.
and there's just no challenge in it anymore because
Break
I
it.
just win. Oh, I just win. Oh.
That is the big problem, isn't it, with the grand strategy / 4X games? You get to a point where you break the game, because if you're having a successful run, you've kind of done it in a way in which nobody's going to stand up to you when you're playing the
That's
AI.
where, like, you meant to do the higher difficulties. Creative Assembly are doing things with the AI in Total Warhammer 3, which was pushed to Q1 next year, which makes me sad because I
I know.
should
Really
be
want
playing it.
sieges though.
Oh, the sieges.
I'm
Oh,
really hoping you can put artillery on walls because
yes.
dwarves are rubbish in sieges normally.
Yeah.
Oh, Rob, by the way, Nathan's hugely into Warhammer. He even collects all the miniatures and shit. So,
And you introduce us now.
better late than never.
Couldn't have done this
I'm very excited
9
for
months
the siege
ago.
rework.
Oh yeah, have you seen the Zinch stuff? The
Yeah,
trailer?
with all the little pink cars climbing up the ladders, it's very cute.
Yeah, it's going to be so good. I'm
And
curious.
he's feigning sleep, but I know once he plays it, he will.
Oh yeah, he'll like it. It's what they're going to do for Slanesh that is going to be interesting.
Oh yeah, I'm not
Because
sure when to see that.
Bless you.
That's one of their favourite maps. Like one of the community guys turned around and said that it's one of his favourite map designs. I'm thinking, what the fucking hell can you design for a map for this? I want to see it. So that's kind of
want to see it.
I just want you all to know that I had a really good pun around "That's how the cookie crumbles" that none of you let me get out at the time we were talking about Cookie Clicker, and I just wanted Rob to know because I wanted him to feel honoured because I was trying for a Rob pun, and
I'm proud. It's
and it
finally
didn't work.
working.
And that is the way the cookie crumbles.
and that there you go. So it kind of worked by not working. I'll take that. I've also been playing a buttload. Well, not a buttload, but I've been in and out of Cyberpunk 2077 over the last few months as well.
Of course,
You're
it's just
waiting
not a
for it to work.
podcast without us touching on Cyberpunk 2077.
Cameron's favourite
My
thing
life
for us to
is
talk about.
complete.
There you go. I know I had to get it in, but it's a case of I bought it on PC as well, right? And I was curious on my new rig to see what I could do. And my word, now I understand why they were talking about PC's the place to play it. It looks and plays so much better on PC than it does even on a Series X. Like it is noticeably very much improved. And also the mod support for it, where I can just completely, cheat my way into being fucking Uber at the beginning of the game and give myself loads of cool shit. So you can just bake it into because I've already played the game basically and finished it. I was like, I'm just going to like a sandbox to fuck around in with all the cool vehicles and all the money and all the guns, and it looks stunning. And while it's weird that you can't get it above like a 50 or 60 frames per second, regardless of how powerful your machine is, it plays that consistently at least, and yeah, with all the ray tracing and stuff, it does look really nice. So hopefully they'll get a next gen update out for that in the next
2023
million years.
I was going to say, they've not said anything more about that.
They've
We're
gone
not far
so
off
quiet.
2022.
It's all gone very quiet in the last few months.
Yeah.
Very.
Are
very
they
quiet.
hoping people forget about the entire game?
I think
Quite
what they're
possibly.
doing, they've announced some of the like little extra DLC little things that are coming, but they put in a few like jackets and a new car, like really minor shit for free. But I think they're going quiet until they can go, yeah, here's the new big pile of shit for you, love it. That would be how I would handle that, and basically relaunch the entire game. They're going to have to approach it like that, like this is a new release of it. That's the only way they're going to win people over. But everybody got to keep remembering Witcher 3, very similar situation happened with Witcher 3. So
Looking forward to seeing all the billboards on the buses again for Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk 2077, it works
It
now.
works now.
Yeah, wow.
It scares me that was
Fucking
entirely in sync.
That's right, mate. Like we're connected at the brain, and that's crazy.
I'm gonna be 90 years old, and Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be released in 2077
Yeah,
again.
Yeah. It'll just be, this isn't real life now, we're sorry.
they'll wake
Yeah.
wake me out of cryo just to cover that. I think.
We've had a good patch now. All right, cool.
It's an extra frame every second.
Leah and Rob, have you guys been? I mean, Rob, are you just still mad Destiny boy, or like have you been sprinkling anything else into that little cauldron of
No,
gaming?
because of a cat that won't get out of the way.
That was a great
Bloody
shot.
webcam.
Full cat all the time.
He's being very cute being up here, but he really
Hey.
needs to sod off because I'm busy.
I have
We-
second cat.
Yours is fine.
Your cat is being adorable, Cam, no doubt.
Mine is just walking all around my desk. But I have been playing a little bit of Destiny. I've mostly been doing raids, like the current season and stuff hasn't hugely grabbed me. I'm strong enough to do raiding, so I've just been doing that with the clan. That's pretty much it. I'm just keeping roughly abreast of the story, just because this season lasts until February, and the next expansion, so I kind of want a bit of a break.
We're going to get a big content drop in December, though, aren't we, for the anniversary?
Yes.
So that's something I'm looking forward to. Galley, baby! Yes! Give me back my
Yes.
Galley.
He's Agent of Chaos.
But you've been playing random co-op horror game, yeah?
Yeah, Dead by Daylight, asymmetrical multiplayer. I recently bought the new killer expansion that came out, Pinhead, from Hellraiser. And thematically, as far as I understand thematically, because I've never seen the movie, which is going to make Ben wince, it's so cool. It's such a cool, like, immersively thematic killer, because he never actually does much as you're walking around. It's the chains he's summoning that does stuff for him. Like in the game, there are pallets that survivors drop that you have to break through as the killer if you're trying to chase them. He doesn't like punch them and they disintegrate like other killers. He just, and chains like fly out from up the top of the screen, pierce the pallet and rip it apart, and then they go up.
Nice.
When you down a survivor, he doesn't bend over and pick them up and put them on his shoulder. Chains just go thunk and up.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. It's just so thematic. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Pinhead doesn't like ever get his hands dirty. That's the thing. Yeah, he's a scary motherfucker.
He's such a great look. He's an instantly recognizable character as well.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I will always remember the Cenobite with the CD spitting mouth. I want to say Hellraiser 3, where he was like a DJ. And he got turned into one of the creatures of hell, and he'd like shoot CDs at people to kill them, which is
really weird.
Absolutely
Kinda
shit.
cool.
But kind of so 90s, it's amazing. I also like the idea that he's a DJ and he spits CDs.
Yeah,
It's just like, yep, that's a 90s DJ. Yep, so.
Other than that, mostly I've been dabbling in Minecraft and just generally unpacking the new house more than anything. I've not had a huge amount of time for lots and lots of console and PC gaming recently, and I'm just kind of waiting for things at the moment more than anything. I'm waiting for the Pokemon Shining Pearl and Big Diamond, whatever the fuck it's called.
Brilliant Diamond.
I like Big Diamond. I like the idea they've run out of adjectives. Big. How about a big diamond?
Big and shiny. That'll do.
You won't be able to transfer your saves, but you can have a big diamond. How about that?
So yeah, I'm waiting for that. And yeah, waiting for Warhammer 3, waiting for the December drop for Destiny content. I need to actually pre-order that anniversary bundle because giving Bungie money.
Done that already. Yeah, ready.
Yeah,
ready.
So
I think I'm pretty much the same boat as you. I have things lined up, ready to go, but it's having time these days.
Yeah.
I bought Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Oh wow! Talking about if you don't have time, good luck trying to play that. I mean, like...
I know, and I even got it with like it was on sale and it was available for the PS4 and PS5. And I'm just thinking, I'm just gonna hold off until I get PS5 anyway, and play it on that because it'll be absolutely incredible. And I started playing Mortal Shell. I was getting my Dark Souls fix in kind of thing, and that's difficult, but an interesting style of like environment and gameplay. But again, it's just I don't have time. I need time.
And yes, that's why we're drawing things to a close. None of us have time to do this. None of us. Finally, I wanted to ask Leo, have you been playing anything?
I played some more Subnautica Below Zero, but again, I'm just waiting for Pokemon at the minute. I just want Pokemon, and then all the games that they haven't announced yet that I want them to announce.
So what's that? That took me to the next thing. What were you all looking forward to then? What's on the horizon? Rob mentioned, a few games that he's waiting for. What were we all waiting for? What were we all hyped for?
Okay, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Fable, and more Pokemon.
Anyone else? Nathan, you waiting for anything? Warhammer?
You're gonna hate me, Ben.
Go on.
I'm kind of curious to see what the new Call of Duty's like.
Vanguard?
Yeah.
I don't hate you for it. I mean, I think the idea of special forces, World War II as the center of the kind of the story for the campaign and stuff, that looks good. But I'm not interested in the World War II multiplayer side of it. I mean, that's all Battlefield 2042 for me. I can't wait for Battlefield, so I'm pumped for that. But no, Vanguard's looking like the story could be good. Yeah,
It looks like it's sort of, I don't know, there's something off with it.
With which one?
In a good way. With the Call of Duty Vanguard, where it looks to be like a lot of the sort of hints and things don't look World War II, so I'm wondering how. Is it going to be like alternate almost, or just.
We always hope they'll do something.
Or is it
like
more
that,
just
and they
Call
never
of Duty,
do.
just like, oh, we'll just put a fun gun in? Probably
Yeah.
more likely that, yeah.
I don't think it's gonna. I wish it was something like. Do you remember when Battlefield 1 was teasing and it looked like they were doing some kind of weird alternative take on Battlefield, like the history side of it, and then they didn't. It was just what you'd
It's a good
expect.
game, though.
Yeah, that's a very good game. Richard, what's on your horizon?
In the immediate future, literally Horizon 5.
I was hoping you would say that. I was trying to tee you up, saying good job, good job. That's looking sweet, isn't it? What I think I'm going to do with that is I'm going to get, because it's a Microsoft first party. I'm not going to buy the game, but they're doing a pack where you can get like the season pass, all the extras, if you're a Game Pass Ultimate sub, and you can then get everything else added on to the game. Like, so that I think that's like 35 quid. So I think I'll get the game on Game Pass and then get that. So I have the car pass and all the DLC that's going to come out for it, because I know I those games I just play forever. It's like whenever I want fancy a drive. Yeah, it looks so good.
I've got the
God.
preload placer on my Xbox already.
Same. Yeah, I did that
So
as well.
good. Why do you want to? Why would you buy the DLC now?
Because it's
Just
me.
wait.
I bought the deluxe edition of Far Cry for whatever.
He bought
money.
XP boosts in Valhalla. He buys everything.
It's just, I'm
Oh,
broken.
Leah, knock his head. Do something with him.
I've been trying.
So no one said Halo Infinite.
Nope.
I'm
That would
saying
be.
Halo Infinite. I'm excited for Halo Infinite.
I'd
Richard,
I'd forgotten about it. That's
Oh,
weird.
That's not a good sign.
One of the key things of Halo is the fact it being done in co-op. It's always been fun, right? Doing co-op campaigns. That's not available until 3 months after launch. Sod that. Not interested. They're releasing half of a game to get it in before Christmas. I'm quite angry.
I don't think you can argue with that,
Behaving it.
It's
You
a
can argue
fair
with that.
point. It's fair. That is fair.
Mm.
I mean, I don't have any friends to play.
No,
it
me
with.
neither. I'm too busy to have friends. So, plus the commitment of playing a game like that all in co-op, like that's a lot of time to say I'm only going to play that with one other person. There's just no way I could do that. No way. I know after the first session we'd go our separate ways and then not play it in co-op and just finish it.
You'd
in
end up
single player.
trying to grief your co-op partner constantly.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's not what I do
He
when I'm playing
would
co-op.
never do
I'm
that.
not. I don't grief.
Flashbacks to Sea of Thieves and that sodding harpoon gun. I could have killed you.
Well, you can't because it's co-op. Oh well.
Yeah.
But no, I'm looking forward to Halo Infinite. Definitely, that's on my list on the horizon as well. Cam, what about you?
Well, two couple of things I'm really thinking about is whether or not the news is actually going to come out or not later on this year. Whether or not they're going to remake the Metal Gear Solid 3. That was one of my favorite games growing up, and
Snake Eater, yeah.
Snake Eater being remastered would be absolutely phenomenal. It already looked great for its generation when it came out, so having that come out on PS5 or something would just blow my mind.
Might be my favourite Metal Gear actually. Now you
Yeah,
say
it's same as mine.
that.
But I think what I'm really looking forward to is actually a lot of TV and stuff that's coming out related to video games. We've got The Witcher Season 2 coming out. We've had a little couple of snippets of photos coming from the Last of Us set. They're rebooting the Resident Evil movie universe. With,
Yeah, I watched that
Welcome to
trailer. Did you
Raccoon
see that
City.
trailer?
Yeah.
That looks like one of the worst things ever made. It's TV actors and no money for special effects. It honestly looks terrible. Sorry.
I just want to see it
Sorry.
to know how good or bad it is. I mean, it can't be
It's
any
gonna be
worse
bad.
than how the series kind of ended up.
What are you talking about? Those films, just forget that it's based on those games, and they're a great time. I love those movies. They are so bad they're good. whereas this just looks bad.
I don't know.
Also,
Ben.
I want to give props to Cameron for still having the podcast skills to segue us into a new discussion topic as seamlessly as he attempted. If I hadn't pointed it out like that, it was really well done, because I wanted to talk about TV and film. So well done, Cam. Well done. 10 out of 10. That's yeah. So talking about TV, you guys are watching Foundation?
Oh my God, yes.
It's just the best thing ever made. So you
Oh,
I
good.
haven't even heard of it until today.
What's it about?
It's,
That could-
it's Apple Plus, Apple TV Plus,
be why.
but worth the sub. It's all the money you've ever seen in a TV show. It makes Game of Thrones look like it was made for £5. It's absolutely incredible. It's based on a series of books by Isaac Asimov that came out in the 1950s. Probably one of the most formative and important series of science fiction books ever. If you watch this, you'll immediately see the influence on Star Wars and everything. It's very, very apparent. It's set over the scope of 1,000+ years, and it's about the collapse of the galactic human-based empire, and basically this guy who can predict the future using mathematics, and he sets up a foundation to try and lessen the impact of the collapse of the empire and the sort of fall into barbarism. Its scope and just scale are unmatched. And so far, we're about halfway through season 1. It's genuinely amazing. Like, it's a big difference to the books. They've done a lot of very smart changes, but
I don't know if you can see, but I'm getting chills just talking about it.
That's a very strange thing to do. But okay. It's so
That's
good, though.
good.
Isn't it? It's so
Yeah,
good.
it's so good.
So incredible. Everybody should watch Foundation. Yes, that's my number one recommendation at the moment. If you like science fiction, it's the best. Yeah, just the best.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Asimov the one who came up with like the 3
Mhm.
rules of robotics?
Rules of robotics.
Yeah.
He is indeed, and there may or may not be some of that in Foundation. Don't want to spoil anything.
And clearly there is, because that's...
You're
Yeah.
making assumptions based on that, Rob. I don't know what you're talking about.
Clearly, yes, because no one says, well, I'm not going to spoil anything, but, you might see that. That's clearly... That's you just trying to not give a spoiler, but give a spoiler at the same time. It's like
It's
going,
so good.
Game of Thrones, there are dragons! Shh!
There are some of the most original concepts I've ever seen in science fiction in this, to do with the Emperor and other characters, and it's just amazing. Like, genuinely. And also, I'm very excited. As of recording day, Sunday, tomorrow, I'm going to be seeing Dune in the cinema, and I am so pumped to see Dune. Oh my god. So, Richard, you must be looking forward to Dune.
Yeah, love Dune.
Yeah.
We're going to rewatch the original, I think, before we go see that.
That is a flawed masterpiece, is the way I would describe the original movie. Such fun. Bobbins, but fun. Like,
Sting in it.
it's such a good movie.
Yeah, it's got Sting in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, she said it as a positive, Nathan said it as a negative. Both are valid. Both are valid.
Same statements from 2 different inflections.
Yeah, and both correct, which I love. What? So you mentioned Witcher season 2, didn't you, Cam? Yeah, up for that. Just saw the trailer for that. Did you guys catch all the sort of stuff that came out of the DC fandom last night? Their bigger fandom event. I don't know what it is, but loads of trailers.
On that this morning.
Loads of trailers. Oh my god,
Yeah.
so many trailers.
Gotham Knights, the game, looks amazing. Court of Owls, phenomenal. You don't want to touch it because you're weird. Well, there are microtransactions, so of course you don't want to touch it.
No, I love microtransactions. Oh no, because there aren't any. Right. No,
Exactly.
I see what you said. Right. Okay. I love a good MTX. You know me.
Yeah. It looks really, really good. The Suicide Squad killing the Justice League looks shit.
It's the opposite. What are you talking about?
The Court of Owls is amazing.
The
I love Court
storyline
of
is,
Owls.
but there's bollocks
Yeah.
with fucking Batgirl and Nightwing and Red Hood somehow shoehorned into it.
Pardon them
Fuck
for trying
off!
to tell a different story
It's gonna be
rather than
garbage.
just gruff detective Batman. Anyway,
Did you see the trailer for The Batman?
Yeah,
Did you not?
I'm still
not sure.
completely cold on Robert Pattinson being Batman.
Emo Batman. Nobody up for
He's
more
not
emo Batman?
Watch it.
I thought.
emo
Do
Batman.
you know what I liked the most about that trailer? I thought the score to the trailer was fucking awesome, but the music
Excuse me,
was really
Nathan.
good.
You say emo Batman, but I'm pretty sure Batman is emo anyway.
Yeah,
isn't he?
you're not wrong. Yeah.
Hangs around at night and street.
Only
wears
black.
Like,
People out.
He's got the hair down. I can,
Gruff
can
voice.
see it.
fake
A little bit
voice.
over one eye. Maybe shouting at Alfred, and he's going to go up to his room. You know.
The best thing about that movie is the fact that Andy Serkis is Alfred.
Yeah, I
that
love
is the
Andy Serkis.
only redeeming factor about that movie in my eyes at the moment.
What else did
The
they
way you-
show? They showed loads
the
of
way
stuff,
you-
didn't they? God, what was it? Aquaman 2, Shazam 2,
wow.
Black Adam.
Isn't it Aquaman
They
2?
showed Black
showed
Adam.
yeah, Black Adam. That's interesting.
Is The Rock Black Adam?
Yes.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
They
I
showed this
see.
bit of footage, right, where he's like right at the beginning of the movie, where they like awaken him, and he grabs his soldier by the throat, lifts him up, and electrocutes him until his body disintegrates into ash and his bones collapse. And it's like, oh, okay, so this is going to be quite dark. This is fun.
That kind of movie.
Yeah, and sorry, go on.
It's not the happy kind of, yeah, everything's going to work out. No, everyone's going to die.
I do like that as a counterpoint to Shazam, because of course Black Adam was introduced as a Shazam villain. So I hope those two face off, because I mean you couldn't get more different in tone, really, with that product. So, but he's facing off against the Justice Society. So Hawkman, Doctor Fate, those kind of characters. So Doctor Fate, by the way, Pierce Brosnan, pretty cool.
Okay.
No,
so-
those were going to be the bad guys.
Yes,
I'm-
they're the
I'm more excited now.
Oh yeah, no, it's taken a really long time to get it made, but I actually have all the kind of I care about that. I'm more interested in that than Aquaman 2 or they showed a trailer for the Flash as well, the new Flashpoint based Flash with Michael Keaton Batman, and that looked interesting.
That was cool, yeah.
Yeah, there's so many trailers. Do you see any of these, Richard?
I didn't see any of them.
Oh,
I'm
mate.
going to have a look at.
Oh,
I'm
mate.
looking forward to Batman, especially.
I thought the trailer was really good. I just like Rob, I'm not sure about
Yeah.
that casting. I'm really not.
Thing is, I've always been a big fan of hating Robert Pattinson. Ever,
Really glad you continued the name. And
yeah,
didn't just I've really been a big fan of hating Rob.
yeah, welcome. Ever since the Twilight films, as a teenager they were fucking awful. But like growing up, I kind of realised that the films themselves are just terrible. And growing up, and he has grown up, and he is actually
He's a good actor.
He's been in
He's
quite a
good.
few good things. And
The
this
Lighthouse
isn't.
was
Yeah,
Lighthouse
the
was
Lighthouse.
added to Netflix.
That's a bad
And
film.
it's one of those things you wouldn't really expect him to have a role like this. So you don't know whether he's going to be good or not. I mean, I didn't really understand or think of Christian Bale as a Batman when he first got cast, and the things I've seen him in before, I was sort of like, really? Yeah, okay, but then he kind of made the character his own, and that's
Who would have thought Ben Affleck would make a success of it?
Ironic there, considering it was a huge failure. I like what you did there, Richard.
I'm going to keep my
Nice.
opinions to myself about Ben Affleck
it
as
was
Batman
funny.
because
I
people.
think I was the only one that took that particular comment at face value because I quite enjoyed him in the Snyder Cut.
I think he's I think he's good casting for an older Dark Knight. It's just that everything around him was unfortunately poor, which is
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys actually watched the Snyder Cut?
Yes.
Did we watch?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. I
It's
love
much
it.
So
better.
much,
It's
yeah.
much better. I'm
Much,
not sure I'd
much
say
better.
amazing, but it was
It
much
was
better.
better.
Yeah.
well, it makes
No.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
It's like when you watched the Justice League originally, you were like, nope, don't do any more. Now watch the Snyder Cut and go, oh man, I'd love more Snyder Universe DC. It's just a
Yeah.
shame.
There was wasn't there another director who was saying like he wants his own Snyder cut of his film? Was it?
Was it the
I'm not-
original Suicide Squad one?
Yeah, David Ayers from Suicide Squad. Because
Yeah,
they
that's it.
got people in and they basically butchered his movie.
I mean, that movie's bad as well. So I wouldn't be surprised
Exactly.
if they were too involved. Yeah.
Be curious to see if there was a good cut version.
I do think it's interesting though, because I think off the back of all of that drama, we're seeing a lot more creative freedom being given to the directors of the DC movies now. So I think we might get some good shit. Like James Wan seems to be doing a good job of Aquaman 2 and stuff, and I'm quite looking forward to this Flashpoint Flash. I like the multiverse concept, so it should at least be interesting, shouldn't it? So
The thing is that they already have. This is what kind of frustrated me about the DC universe because they've got the TV universe, and then they're trying to keep it separate, which is fair enough. But the thing is that they're already doing multiversal events and stuff like that. Like they've already had Ezra Miller's Flash make an appearance in the Flash TV show.
Yep.
So at this point, it's like you can't keep them separate anymore. Surely, you know.
Well, maybe they're
Um,
ignoring that and just it's a different multiverse. There we go.
different multiverse.
Well, it's more like
It's a
different universe in the
multi-multiverse?
same multiverse.
Multiverse!
Clearly, they're linked, so it's just a different universe. So they can just appear if Arrow is still going on. I don't know.
It's not.
They
God.
I don't know if you watched any of that sort of multiverse like episodes, but one of my favorite bits recently is they had Kevin Conroy play Bruce Wayne live action in the TV show.
Yeah, they did some cool stuff. They got Smallville Clark Kent back, didn't they, as well, which I thought was quite cool. Yeah, Tom Welling, thank you. Yeah, but now they're playing around with some stuff, and it still feels like this, like, yeah, we'll just try and work out what succeeds, and then we'll go with that, because at the minute we don't really know. But yeah, fair enough. Give it a shot. I'm up for more. I'm up for more, definitely. So beyond that, what else? Is there anything else on the horizon for you guys, TV and film, that you're excited about? Any other shout outs, mentions?
I enjoyed What If.
Yeah, What If was pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Star Wars. I enjoyed the Star Wars Vision.
Haven't watched that yet. Need to do that. Yes, need to do that.
There are. I've watched. I'm probably the group weeb. So yeah, I'm anime I watched.
Big weeb boy. No, he's more weeby than you, Rob.
Sorry, Rob.
He likes. What do they call them that you like, Leah? The magical girl power things. I don't know.
Sailor Moon.
Hentai.
Not quite. Sailor Moon.
I just hide my weebiness quite well.
Oh, okay. Weeb off. Who's the bigger weeb boy? I don't know what the terms are.
That is right. But you know, you can tell some of the animation styles from the studios that really reflect like what they've done before, and some of them are just fantastically animated. They really are. The stories are nice in there as well. A couple of them are sort of like, what, little moments in there that would only happen in an anime universe rather than the main actual Star Wars universe, if you know what I mean. Like an actual physic that happens in space, for example, that you just like, that doesn't make sense, but whatever.
Laws of physics actually happen.
As much as it can.
Not in Abrams' Star Wars, they don't. I mean, you travel between planets in about 5 minutes. Ridiculous.
No, it's where you can't see anything because of all the lens flare. That's the Abrams style, isn't it?
It's a good way of getting away with bobbins, then, isn't it? You don't know what's going on.
But no, I really enjoyed the Vision. So I think everyone should give it a go as a Star Wars fan.
I keep meaning to. I keep forgetting to do it. Yeah, they're only short, so probably do it in an hour. Watch all of them. So yeah, I need to do that.
Me, You season 3 that came out on Friday.
Oh, Creepy Stalker Show.
Creepy Stalker Show. It's incredible because it's so fucked up what he does, how he does it, how he justifies everything to himself. Watching his logic, going, "You're making complete logical sense for you, but what you're doing is nightmarish. Stop it." Is just brilliant. So I'm curious to see where the storyline's going to go. They've already renewed it for a season 4.
Okay.
So I'm very excited.
Have you watched that, Leah?
Yes.
Is it something I would enjoy?
It might disturb you actually.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because you like you know, romantic stuff, don't you? You like things like that.
It's been out in...
Not this.
I don't like romantic comedies. I don't watch them to chill out. I don't know what you're talking about. That never happens.
Oh.
Yeah. This is not that. This is quietly horrific.
Oh, I like that. That's a good description. Quietly horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he thinks he's being the perfect person and the perfect romantic guy, and he's literally murdering people, but thinks he's brilliant for it.
Yeah. So your boyfriend is such a bad influence on you. All he does is cheat on you and lie to you. I'm doing this for you. I'm killing him for you. See? I'm good. I have to protect you.
Yeah.
Because that's the key tagline of the show. And so you follow his inner monologue as he narrates. It's not a proper narration, but it's you hear his thoughts as if it was a book where you would read them. And who they cast is just amazing. Season 2 has some great twists and turns in it and subversions of expectation. So yeah, it's a really good show. I'm hyped for season 3, and I need to have some time to watch it, but that's not likely.
Sounds a bit Dexter-ish.
Yes.
Is it like that?
Yes.
Good segue. That's
better.
the final season of Dexter coming, isn't it?
The second final season. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Because the first final season was so bad, they've actually somehow got permission to do a new one. So
Yeah, you're
Oh,
not
God,
wrong
it was
there.
awful.
It's kind of like Dexter, but Dexter's more sympathetic than this bloke.
Yeah, because Dexter
Dexter-
has his own kind of moral code. This guy
Yeah.
just has a. I am obsessed. Yes.
he's just a creepy dude being a creepy dude.
It's a creepy dude doing awful things that you kind of think, all right, yeah, I'm on your side, really. It's that kind
It's a
of
good,
vibe, isn't it?
it's a good influence for society. It's just what we need.
Yeah.
Sympathetic
No,
creepy dudes.
I actually read an article about it, I think yesterday, whereas people are thinking, oh yeah, I love this bloke because he's amazing, and the actual actor is going, are you mental?
Yeah.
He's a psychopath. He is not a good person. What are you thinking? And it's actually like how the romantic lead has evolved and stuff like that. It was a really good article, but yeah, he is not a good person. Do not like him.
No. But how it's
I
acted.
don't think with those sort of things, you're not supposed to actually empathise with the bad guy, are you? But it's supposed to tempt you into getting close and thinking, oh God, what's happening to me? It's yeah. That sounds fun.
Did you guys watch Vigil?
No.
Oh, I'm
No.
surprised you didn't, Richard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't. From the Line of Duty people on BBC about the crime on the submarine shit. It was very good. But-
Commended.
Yeah, I do want to watch it. I think it's on our list to watch,
Mm.
but it's one of the recommendations from the in-laws, and that always comes with a kind of.
It's a bit formulaic, but it's still very, very well made. It's a very taut thriller type thing. It's really good. Yeah, it's really good. Nice self-contained thing. And the final thing is I've been watching the docu-series on iPlayer about Tony Blair and Gordon Brown, as someone that remembers all of that very, very well and was very much kind of on the inside of some of that shit back in the 90s. It's very fascinating, and all I can tell you is I would take New Labour right now over pretty much anything else on offer. So yeah, very interesting. Richard, you'd probably find it quite interesting as well. I think everybody should watch it. It's very good, very, very well made, because it's got all the key principles involved. Mandelson's there, Blair's interviewed, Brown's interviewed. They're all on it. So, and very candid and honest about everything that happened. Well, as honest as any politician can be, I suppose.
Yeah, I was going to say, is Tony Blair reminiscing through rose-tinted glasses?
Of course he is.
Oh, yeah.
And he's trying to make himself look as positive as possible. But at times when he's talking about his relationship with Brown, you can tell there was a lot of problems there, and he's honest about, the tension there, and I respect that a lot. So, it's fascinating if you grew up or, were of a certain age in that era, like I was, I think, remembering, oh, you know what? We things were much better then. Like, holy shit, things were better then. And it wasn't even that long ago. But yeah, Nathan, you're the only one. Have you been watching anything, Nathan? Before I move us on.
No.
Okay, cool. Moving us on.
No, I don't actually watch like TV anymore. I'm
Except Sliders. Yeah.
Sliders and rewatching old Doctor Who. But film-wise, it's out already. But I'm very excited to see Halloween.
Oh mate, I was just going to mention how terrible it is.
I've heard it's awful. I've heard it's so bad. The reviews shit all
bad.
over it. Yeah.
I've been really looking forward to this for like 2 years now.
Really bad.
Like
Yeah,
since the
I
last
liked
one.
the last one. The last one was great, wasn't it? But yeah, this is such a letdown.
I've heard
This was meant to be out last October, I think.
Richard,
and then...
tell me if I'm wrong, but the reviews kind of said like the first new one did some new stuff, but this just feels like another one of the other Halloween sequels, and it's formulaic and uninspired and not scary. Is that fair?
Yeah,
no.
exactly that. It just feels like, well, having reinvented it and made it a quality sort of endeavour again, why have they gone back to just churning this out? It just feels like, it honestly felt like it would have been better if everyone who dies in this movie just got in a queue and Michael just went through in 5 minutes. It would have had more drama. But it's just...
See, all the bits I heard was it was meant to be like, not new, but it's like more investigating like the effects on it on the community. But is it not? Is it just a...
No, it tries to do that, but it's so handed with it. It has no impact whatsoever. You don't believe in any of the characters. They almost are literally queuing up to be killed. One of the characters actually says, "Or maybe for him to die, I need to die." So you end up having all of them just walking through doors that you would not walk through, going into parks you wouldn't go into, doing things you wouldn't do, when all of them are intimately familiar with what Michael Myers is and can do. And they just stroll into it like, yeah, it's time for him to be killed now. Yeah, no shit. You're not going to do it though, are you? Oh, you are? Oh, bye. So
Surely, if you knew Michael Myers was hunting you, you would get onto an airplane and go to a different country.
Yeah.
Like, surely that's the logical thing to do. Not go, ooh, a park at night time. No one's around. Looks like time for a stroll.
I haven't watched any of these new ones. Are they
the last
a continuation of? Because the last Halloweens I watched were the Rob Zombie remakes, which were pretty. Well, I thought they were okay. I quite enjoyed them actually. So are they a sequel to these?
The last Halloween ones are the proper. I don't know if any of them aren't canon as such, but these are proper canon sequels. The last one it's like 30 years on from the original Halloween, and you've got Jamie Lee Curtis coming back.
Oh, okay.
I think Halloween 2 onwards is not Halloween canon anymore.
Are we going to get to a point where Michael is like walking around with like a stick to help him get about because he's just getting on so much?
Oh, don't worry about him. He's fine. It's just ridiculous. You know how do you remember in the 80s where Hulk Hogan would take a beating and then for no reason he would start shaking his head, doing all this and getting up and no blows would affect him.
Yeah.
Basically the same vibe for Michael Myers.
Don't start talking about wrestling because I'll go on about how amazing AEW is and how CM Punk's come back to professional wrestling and how Daniel Bryanson's down in AEW. I could talk about that for the next hour if you want, Bryan Danielson. We can do that if you like, Richard. I'm happy to talk about pro wrestling, how it's probably the best thing actually on TV right now in AEW. So
I'd rather watch a blank screen.
I have one more thing and then two things. One, Arthur. Cam, what's your cat called?
Nyla.
Oh, hi, Nyla. You're adorable, double Superman. And Ted Lasso. Then.
Oh, Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso. Another Apple TV Plus show.
Yeah.
So goddamn good. Like, another incredible show. That's the thing. Everything on Apple TV Plus pretty much is excellent. However, nobody's really watching it because it's Apple TV Plus. And very few people
because I started watching C, the Jason Momoa one, and that was a good start.
Mm-hmm.
But back when I had an iPhone,
Mythic Quest, Ted Lasso, C, The Morning Show, obviously Foundation. They're all of a very, very, very high standard. And it's more people should check out Apple TV Plus. It's all very, very good. Does anybody want me to talk about Far Cry 6? Or does nobody give any shits? Wow, Richard, that was quite strong.
Come on then, Ben.
I mean, I just want to say it's the best one since 3, and it's really enjoyable, and it's a really fun, lush, open world with lots of fun things to do. And I like what they've done with the whole guerrilla, the guerrilla fighters, which you are like uber guerrilla, and you have a backpack that can shoot rockets, and you have lots of guns, and they all feel good to use.
Are you still going around the map unlocking different provinces by defeating camps or watchtowers? That there are multiple different ways that you can approach the situation.
I mean, yes, that's Far Cry.
I've described about the last 7 different
but that's
games.
In the same way as Assassin's Creed does, synchronizing viewpoints. Far Cry will always do outposts that need to be taken. Yes, absolutely. But it's a very fun sandbox to have a good time in. I really enjoy it. Yeah, it's really good.
The best thing I've seen about it while he's been playing this so far is the fact that you can have a puma as a companion.
Yes, you have lots of animal companions now. They've really doubled down on the whole uber animals with shit to help you attack things. It's good.
There's a dachshund in a wheelchair. I'm sold. Just on that.
It's a very cute little dog.
I just heard the word uber animals and I thought it was like you can call a rhino to go take you places.
Not far off.
I mean, you can call like a really cool car that has a gun on it to take you places. Like you can summon a horse in Assassin's Creed. Just summon a car. It's great. That's how that works.
Whistle to summon the car, or do you open a app on your phone?
It doesn't it doesn't even pretend to contextualize it. It's just like the weapon wheel, and the bottom of the weapon wheel is the car summon button, and you just do that, and then the car comes. I mean, there's somebody driving it. It doesn't just like in Cyberpunk when you do that, the vehicle drives itself because Cyberpunk. But in this, there's someone actually driving it who gets out. But
You mean like the
the way.
mechanic who delivers your car in Grand Theft Auto?
that's my favourite thing in Cyberpunk. You summon a motorcycle and it drives itself up to you, like with nobody on it. It's just like, I love how they don't even need to worry about it because it's Cyberpunk.
So Night Rider, it can happen.
Future bike.
I
is.
guarantee you,
The
there's supposed
Teslas.
to be a rider on there, but they just haven't patched it in yet.
Yes, it's a bug. I love the idea that it's a bug. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Gee, nobody's mentioned that all this time. There's nobody riding the bikes.
Oh no,
That's
these
it's
guys
in
with
universe, it's in
experience
universe.
kills found us out.
It's in universe. It's in universe. God damn it! It's part of the law. I love that. That would be incredible.
Genius.
Wouldn't that be amazing? But okay, I won't talk any more about Far Cry, considering you're all massively over that franchise. It would seem in a humongous way. So that's fair enough. So anybody else want to bring up anything else? They want to talk any news that's been happening, any developments in gaming? Obviously, the ongoing Activision stuff is still horrible, and I won't spend any more time on that, I think. But yeah, anything else? I mean, obviously Twitch got its arse hacked real bad, and all of that stuff got leaked, and Facebook went offline and all that shit. It's pretty mad for the last couple of weeks.
The Twitch leak was very interesting, looking at how 19 of the top 20 streamers are all men. Which was
How is
disappointing.
that interesting? I mean, are you surprised?
It made me more sad than anything, but I always assumed some streamers were bigger than they ended up being. So it was curious to see the earnings calls. I'm not surprised Critical Role makes as much money as they do because their enterprise is just incredible. So fair dues, props to those guys more than anything. But yeah, it was surprising to see how much people are earning from Twitch. Which is
Well,
insane.
I don't think it's surprising
Should I-
to see how much the
Should I
top people are
collect
earning from
myself and
Twitch.
start streaming? How good is it?
I think it's surprising how little the majority are earning. I think that's the bit where all these people who stream, every day or multiple times a day, every day of the week, that it's their whole career, and unless you break through into a certain very high bracket, you don't really make much money. Like, the vast majority of Twitch streamers are making less than the minimum mean wage in the United States. So it's kind of crazy how little you can make out of it. It's to be thought about. It should be thought about in exactly the same way as if you wanted to become a professional, successful sportsman. That there is a bracket which will do very well for themselves at the very top end of the system, but anything less, you're probably going to struggle and or fail and have to stop if you want to actually make money to live. So I think, yeah, it's no different to that. It's the same kind of aspirational goal, isn't it? It's not a career opportunity for the vast majority of people, which I think is unfortunate because a lot of people think it's something that's really easy to do and to break into and end up wasting their time basically when they could be focusing on something else. One of the reasons we never tried to go down that road with monetization and turn it into that kind of an ongoing concern, because even if you did give it 7 days a week, 40 hours a week focused on something like that, there's no guarantee you're actually going to be able to make a success of it and actually turn it into a career. Which is, I think that's the takeaway, isn't it?
I don't know. It's not a career for everyone, though, is it? I mean, this is a hobby for us.
That's what I'm saying. I think a lot of people think they can make it as a career. That's the issue. That's the perception of something like Twitch, the democratization of video games. I think.
But when you talk about how surprising it is that most people don't make a lot of money, and that's cool. There's nothing unjust about that. If people are doing it not as a career, which will be the majority of people using the service, that's fine. To be honest, it'd be nice if we made a couple of quid, but we don't do it. We do this just for the...
Yeah, but I think the problem is that Twitch is also loading the dice. It's not purely democratized. There are algorithms at play. Like Rob said, oh, look, the top 20 are all men. Well, how much of that is by design and how much of that is by chance? So there are a lot of questions around the way in which Twitch actually surfaces its content, in the same way there are questions around Facebook and YouTube and how those guys do it. It's not just by chance, but organically that so-and-so becomes a huge success, is it? It's also very transient, and you look at like how successful certain streamers were around, say, PUBG, and how when that game's popularity fell off, so did those streams, so did their success, so did their revenue stream. So you end up having to be incredibly on the ball and probably have to be constantly moving between video games to actually stay on top and stay popular and successful. It's a really difficult market. It's really, really difficult.
You have to make it about you and not the game you're playing. So
there are some YouTubers and stuff that I watch purely, mostly for their personalities, and it's them that I'm more interested in half the time when I put the videos on, because it's fun hearing their opinions.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I've got a couple like that. I absolutely appreciate that. Yeah, but I don't know. It's well, I mean, Cam, Richard, if you ever feel like giving it a shot, good luck. Give it a go. I know you were talking about it a few weeks ago.
I've done before, haven't I? So yeah, back in the old days.
I wonder how it's probably more difficult now, though, isn't it? I would have thought.
It's such an almost overly saturated market, isn't it? I think some people, seeing how some people kind of like grow so quickly, whether or not they have the capital to do so, I think is a big point. Because you end up with like, for example, have you guys watched The Boys on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
The
Boys on Amazon. The TV show.
No. The group of collaborators on YouTube.
No, I've not heard of them.
They all started off doing like VR games and playing together sort of thing and doing their own stuff, but they got together, they've got like their own offices and building and probably their own editor who do their own videos for them, so they can just focus on making the content. But that's that startup capital that they've had or put together to do that, which I think gives them an edge, compared to someone who's recently unemployed and thought, I'm going to give it a go. Because when I first did it, which was a good like 11-ish years ago, when I first got a PC when I was like 19, I got to about 1,000 subscribers, 2,000-ish, and this is, like I said, 11 years ago. That was quite a lot. This is back when when no one had hit 1 million subscribers on the YouTube channel, and I was just uploading dumb little video gameplays. And then my dad told me to get a job and ruin my future, basically.
If only he'd known.
Oh yes. But
you could have been PewDiePie.
Yeah, I mean,
that's good.
No, well, but that's the thing though, because obviously they all kind of built up and they got their own editors and their own little team, and for marketing and stuff as well, and reaching out and doing like sponsorships and stuff like that. I think it's as long as you can put in money to build it up, then obviously you'll get something out of it to start, in the long run.
Yeah, but you say it's not so much money, is it? Right? By money you mean time, yeah? Because it's the money you could be making with a real job that you can't do because you have to dedicate all the time to having that presence and output.
And time is money,
Yeah. It's resource,
resource. I mean, if I had, if I won the lottery and I wanted just to take time off between jobs or something like that, and I wanted to do something like this, I probably would do.
Yeah, but if you won the lottery, you don't need to do it to make money. That's the difference, isn't it?
I mean, I don't even need like I'm not saying like millions, just like maybe £100,000 sort of thing, so I can have time off to de-stress or something. So who knows what people have.
I mean, that's not going to be viable. I mean, the idea that you need a £100,000 buy-in before you could start being a Twitch streamer, it's kind of like, well, that's a barrier to entry.
I mean, that's to cover like expenses, bills, and she's jumping on my camera.
I love it. It's just crotch shot from a camera, and that's amazing.
No, bad kitty.
Don't make her your DP. That's not going to work out for you. But no, I do see where you're coming from. It's like you'd want that kind of buffer, that protection. But I don't think that's what's happening. I think a lot of these guys, they're convincing themselves that they'll be a success and putting all that time and money in, and then really struggling and failing in a lot of cases. And I just think it's hard, man. I think there is an idea that anybody can do it, and it's just, I mean, if you look at those big ones as well on that list, they've all been doing it a very long time. There's not a lot of recent huge successes high up that list. Most of them have been on their platform streaming for many years. So that should tell you that the new people that are just trying to start out, well, they're not going to actually crack it and actually get up there to a point where they can make that money, because it's the algorithm and the way the content is surfaced is weighted. So I mean, you mentioned the gender side of it, Rob. Why do you think that is?
Because Twitch is nothing but constantly in the news for how they treat female streamers, which is generally pretty unfairly. I assume that was a way for them to try and moderate how much money that they were giving out to significantly more popular streamers, as a way to make sure, especially with the hot tub streams, that sort of thing that became popular a while ago, to try and hammer that down and stop it being something that they were associated with. Just another way to oppress and generally be dicks about it.
The hot tub streaming thing, the sex sells idea, it's interesting, isn't it? Because are they doing that because it's the only way they can generate traffic for themselves, or is it just, well, it's freedom of expression? Why should they be prevented from doing that? So I think it's interesting and tricky, isn't it? Why are they feeling the need? Do they feel the need, or do they feel like that's the only content that the predominant male base wants to see from female streamers?
If I'm watching gamers on Twitch, it's because I want to listen to them game, and they're fun and interesting. What gender they are makes no difference to me.
Yeah, but I'm specifically talking about titty streamers and hot tub streamers and that those horrible gendered terminology. Why is it they're doing it? Do they do it because they have no choice, or do they do it because that's just their form of an expression that they should be able to do?
Well, I don't watch Amaranth for gaming, that's for sure.
I don't know who that is. That's fine.
Is the one that is mostly in the news for the hot tub stream.
Is she the one that did the wearing the horse mask ASMR thing with the microphone? Was that her?
No, that's just your kink.
No, there was stories about it. This woman, Twitch streamer, female Twitch streamer, that's always getting banned, and she's always pushing the envelope of what's considered allowed on the platform. She's always challenging Twitch, and she's always getting on the wrong side of it. I don't know who it was. I don't remember the specifics.
Amaranth does repeatedly get banned, but I'm not sure it's because she's continually pushing, because I think she might have done at one point, but realised that they will just ban her, so she doesn't. It's usually salty people who
I was correct. Okay.
Report her and stuff like that.
I just think
it's fighting nudity.
I do think you've got a point. It's that types of rules and regulations do seem to target women, right?
Yeah.
Right. You can come out and say, "Well, right, this is kiddie-friendly platform and stuff," but when your terminology is all about controlling how people dress, you're aiming that at women. It's not men with a low-cut top, is it? Right? It's not.
You're not going to ban a guy for not wearing a t-shirt on Twitch.
I mean, would they ban me for showing my chest hair? I'm not sure they would. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not the same thing, is it?
Ben, we're going out on a high. We don't need to be banned, okay?
Hey, what? Ban all the way, man. I'd like the idea of it getting channel ban on the final video. I'm down for that. Do I need to show a nip? What do I need to do?
No, I'm going to go put my Daisy Dukes on.
Love it. Get those hot pants going. Leah, what are your thoughts? I'm curious.
I think it might be a bit of both, to be honest. Yes, it should be freedom of expression, and do people think that's the only way they can get a lot of subscribers, which is a sad reality. It's kind of depressing both ways, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It's bollocks. It's bollocks. I think, if Twitch is going to have IRL streams, stuff that isn't all about gaming. So what they've done there is say they've opened the floodgates, haven't they? They should be allowing content in a wider platform. So then to try and regulate and to try and control, I don't know if you can have your cake and eat it. Do you know what I mean?
Then surely you just put age verification in place.
Why not? That just kills.
Yeah.
They know that's where the money comes from. The impressionable kids are the ones that are mostly being affected by the advertising revenue, surely. So they know they're there. That's where they can make the money, So at the same time, they don't want to lose that. So I don't know. Richard, you've been quiet on this one. You've been thinking about it.
Well, just something you just said that they've opened the floodgates in opening up to more content. I don't know if that necessarily follows. I'm just thinking about what the equivalent of that would be in other media, and you look at stuff like the BBC, which puts out absolutely all sorts of material. And Fiona Bruce does not have a hot tub on Question Time. So I don't know.
But if she did, would she get more viewers? That's the question, isn't it?
I know I'd tune in. Yeah, why not?
I'd probably watch that on Question Time as well, just to see if they actually followed through.
So I think the equivalence to BBC is interesting, right? So obviously the BBC and broadcast television obviously has regulation, right? So third party groups that regulate Ofcom and stuff regulates what's broadcast. Obviously Twitch and YouTube don't have that, so they're trying to self-regulate. Self-regulation often fails or is unfair to certain groups. I think so. What would you say? Would you say third-party regulation? But how the hell do you regulate the internet? There's so much content. I mean, how do you do it?
The internet is impossible to regulate.
So why try? Do you know what I mean? Just make it fucking Wild West like it used to be back in the late 90s, where fucking everything went and it was crazy town and it was just a nutty place. Like, will we go back to that? Can we?
I can't go back to LimeWire. The infections my computer would get. Jesus, I can't do it.
The infections you'd get, my
Imagine
friend.
the Crazy Frog. Am I downloading a Trojan horse virus? Whichever one.
I mean, that's still a thing. Yeah, it's a fun debate to end this one on. I'm sure it will continue for forever. Like, how do you do? Yeah, can you put the genie back in the bottle? You can't. So,
Wow, crazy.
Chin scratcher.
Literally scratching Arthur's chin as
So if you take your mind back to when we first started doing this in the early 2000s.
Yes.
Do you feel like things are very different now? Things have changed a lot. Can you think of the big shifts we've seen? Obviously, I think better representation of minorities.
Of what we're just talking about.
Yeah, in all kinds of. I think if we're talking about like representation of female gamers and female characters in games are much better, aren't they? There's been a big improvement in those areas, wouldn't you say?
There's been a massive shift in all sorts of areas. So lead characters in games is a big one. We talked about Last of Us 2 earlier. That's a game with multiple significant leads of the female persuasion and what?
Just the way the female persuasion.
Yeah.
I don't know what that
Been persuaded. I will be female today.
It's a funny way of putting it. Made me laugh.
I was kind of down with the vaguely gender accepting terminology that was going through there. I was actually, female persuading.
I'm trying to not be too spoilery about who's in it. You know what I mean. But so lead characters in games have changed. It's not that there weren't any female leads before, but what they're allowed to be is different now. They're not there because they're a woman. They just happen to be a woman, which is the big difference.
Similar. I mean, how we feel about sort of like sexual orientation still needs some work, doesn't it? Last of Us is very progressive, but it's definitely not the norm. So, I mean, even though we're getting female characters who are just there that happen to be female, I still don't think you see a lot of good sexual orientation representation. I think there's some standouts. You look at Life is Strange games and that sort of thing, but it's still fairly
many
games, isn't it?
Yeah, there aren't many games that are really well written. Actually, even after all this time, most video games are not well written at all.
It's like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I mean, you can flick between choices between men and women.
You can just go with anyone.
Yeah.
That's.
Except in the DLC of Odyssey, they actually cisgenderify Cassandra because you don't have the choice not to shack up with a male character and have a baby with them. So they actually, while the main game had a lot of choice, in the DLC they actually regressed on that.
They railroad that choice into you, so you don't have any control over your character.
Pretty grim, actually. It stood out as why we? I mean, I understand you want to tell a story, but
it's a 180 right there. Yeah,
that's unfortunate that you did that. I think I like Valhalla, where it's completely fluid because it's not really a factor in the game. I suppose they don't really deal with. I think they saw the reaction Odyssey and went, okay, let's just not have relationships in this one. So therefore, it's easier to be fluid in the gender choice. But But Ubisoft are so fucking annoying, aren't they? Because they do that bit at the beginning where it's like, nothing here is political, nothing here is trying to make a stance. While clearly in our Cuban set game around Revolutionary, fuck off if there's not politics. What the fuck are you talking about? And yet they just do their best to be as non-committal as possible throughout.
If you go down the middle of the road, you can't offend anyone.
So I guess, Richard, things feel like they've moved forwards, but when you really look at stuff, it needs still a long way to go, isn't it?
It's always like that. You look back 20 years ago, things have moved on, but living the experience of 20 years ago, you would have thought we were in a fairly progressive place. No one thinks they're backwards until they've moved on for a bit.
These sorts of journeys take about 50 years, a couple of generations, because the values get put in, those people move into the jobs, then the new media is created, which pushes out the old media and is more progressive. It takes time.
Yeah,
we're getting there. I mean, if you went to, I know it's post-COVID, so it's different now, but if you went to any sort of video game convention or trade show, it would be unheard of now to booth have corporate sponsored booth babes. You might have people cosplaying and stuff like that, but you don't have big corporations paying people to wear nothing next to their brands.
Do you remember the Nintendo girls that had the 3DSs chained around their waists, and you had to stand basically in their face to play, and their boobs out, they've got their little bikini tops on or whatever, and you're playing the chained around their waist. I mean, wow, what a message, guys. What a incredible message. So things have improved. Yes, things are improving. I keep thinking of Foundation, the TV show we talked about earlier, because they've actually gender swapped some of their characters in that, and completely you would not notice it. And just to see all these amazing, strong women, and it's not about their gender, and they're just being awesome and doing action, and it doesn't matter. You just see a cool action character, and I think that's where we're getting. You look at Horizon, Last of Us, and those sort of games, and it's not about being male or female. It's just about a strong person, and that's definitely a big step forward. Obviously, there's always more to do, but it's good to see it. It's good to see it happening, definitely. But it's also a sort of a thing of they shouldn't need to be almost androgynous in their writing and characterization, should they? Men and women have our own strengths and elements and stuff, and that should also be embraced. So
you can have distinct experiences. Something like Hellblade is a distinct female experience
perspective,
but it's not about someone who is strong. Actually, she's mega vulnerable.
That's a fantastic representation of not just a female lead, but the mental health side of it. I'm going through a lot of mental health stuff right now, and I have a friend of mine who's in a horrible pit and has been for about 5 years, and he played that, and he was really surprised by the representation, because there are times where he feels that voice in his head is getting louder and louder. Sometimes good things, sometimes bad things, and he was genuinely surprised by the entire thing of it. If you haven't played Senua Sacrifice, you need to play it with headphones on. It's not something you just need to take. There are small comments and small little whispers that are
those
happening
audio
in the
cues.
head.
They're just incredible, aren't they? Really well done.
Hopefully that sequel will come out at some point and will improve the gameplay, because while I think that game, as from experiential, is excellent, man, did it bore the shit out of me to actually play.
I believe you're incorrect, sir.
That combat and the puzzles in that game are terrible.
I enjoyed them.
I think the representation links also to the best thing I think Daniel Craig was saying. Everyone says, should there be a female Bond? And he's going, no, there shouldn't. Make an independently strong character franchise around a female action spy. Do that instead. That's better.
Yes. Couldn't agree more.
So,
I think that's interesting. That shows how the discourse has moved on, because 10 years ago you'd have been clamouring for that, and now we've seen you don't need that. You look at Atomic Blondes with Charlize Theron, you look at these incredible... They don't need to be... They could all do it, but it actually cheapens what they're doing by just, oh, look, we made a Jane Bond. Fuck off. So I think already the discourse has stepped up and moved away from that, which I think is great, which is the right direction to go in. I think.
Yeah, you're right. It does feel kind of perverse, that idea, doesn't it? That a strong female has to piggyback on the strength of a man or a male character.
Exactly. Just make a strong female character that's the main character.
So in that time,
Done.
Richard, we've also seen things like Battle Royale games appear, and we've seen whole new genres of video games. VR came back from the dead of the 80s and the 90s and it became a huge thing. Are there any other trends that you've noticed or that you now really enjoy that weren't ever on your radar if you go back to the when we were playing games, when we were playing on the original Xbox, playing Master Chief and Project Gotham Racing and stuff like that? There's quite a few, isn't there, that are experiences that we just never thought of and are now a thing, part of the gaming landscape, you know?
I mean, you guys have been doing this like 20 years. I've been on the list of you guys about 6. Like, I mean, what have been your favourite moments? You know,
In gaming,
yeah.
I think the advent of online play as a mass cultural experience.
Of core of the functionality of games, yeah. Social experience.
I stopped spending money on beer when I had online access. Stop going out with friends, save money.
I think online is weird. Online took a journey because obviously at the beginning, advent of Xbox Live, it was very social. It was a real community, and then it grew to a point where now I don't play with randoms with voice chat.
No.
So it kind of went through in my mind a halcyon time of community and connectedness, and has now gone backwards to a degree, and I think that's a shame. I think online was huge and still is a massive part of gameplay, and I can't wait to play Battlefield 2042 for that, massive real player experience, but I'm not really playing with them. I'm going to play with some friends, in a private group. They're who I'm playing with, and then the others are just enemies to kill. So it's not the most social experience that it used to be, and I think that's a shame that we lost that. I couldn't tell you how to fix that, though. I don't know how you fix that.
I don't think you can now, because it's all about who bought into it at that time. There's a particular sort of person that signed up for the Xbox Live beta in 2003. Once things reach critical mass, you see it all over. Twitter used to be a nice place. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
Thing is, with online,
once you get mass market, you just get it soils it dirties the water.
How many players are there in a Battlefield 2042 lobby?
128 player games.
Exactly.
So
who has 127 friends that they would be able to invite into a multiplayer scenario?
But what I'm saying is,
that many on Facebook.
Back in the day,
it wasn't about that.
It wasn't. You just chatted with everyone.
You joined games with anyone.
Yeah.
You would just chat with
Randoms.
whoever was playing that game and make friends.
Yep.
We'd have your Xbox friends,
That's how you made your Xbox friends.
From Texas.
That's how I have 120
Never
Xbox friends.
I had.
Yeah, you wouldn't know. That's how I have 120 Xbox friends. It's because I met them on Xbox.
I only have like 20. I only have 20, and one of them was my best friend who I invited to my wedding, before my previous planned wedding, shall I say. But he lives in Ireland, and I've never met him physically. I'm going to meet him at the wedding. Is how much I love that guy.
Yeah, well, same with me and Richard. We met through playing Xbox games,
I've never had that experience, meeting somebody through Xbox at that point in time. I've done it now through raiding on Destiny, things like that. That is now an experience I've had. But on the 360, that was never something that happened. I think it's because gaming has taken away the focus from couch co-op and main co-op games into these massively multiplayer sweat fests like 2042 and Call of Duty, because you can't really go in with friends.
It wasn't playing co-op though. You say it wasn't playing co-op. It was playing adversarial shooters like Halo,
stuff like Wolfenstein.
Yeah, Wolfenstein. Yeah, it wasn't about playing co-op. And it was just that the discourse was more friendly and pleasant. While there was obviously smack talk and stuff. It didn't feel as hostile, and I don't think this is gaming fault. This is societal, right?
Yeah.
This is once you grow the pool, sadly, it gets filled with arseholes, right? And it's because that's the nature of discourse. So what you mentioned just then about the clan is a perfect example. It's a limited pool, So these people are going to be decent because that guy who you've already had an experience with says they're decent. So you can trust that you're going to be dealing with people that are okay. And that's what it felt like in the early days, that everyone was decent inherently because they kind of were buying in early. And it lasted past the beta, but it didn't really go much past like Halo 2. I think that's when that period of a few years later is when things started to sour. But I don't think now, first thing I do in a big Battlefield game, I mute the communal chat. It's literally the first option I do when I turn on a large multiplayer game, because I don't want to hear the arseholes. And that's a shame, but that's societal, isn't it? That's how we limit who we communicate with in social media in exactly the same way. And it damages us because it limits our interaction pool, and therefore we only become, more and more insular, more and more ghettoized, more and more adversarial to the other. And I think that's a big community issue when we talk about society as a whole in 2021. But yeah, I think multiplayer is huge, but it's not the same. What else? VR, Richard? Do you think that's been a big impact?
It's had more staying power than I thought it would. So you got rid of your PSVR now, haven't you? But as recently as 2 weeks ago, I have spent actual money on VR games. Not that I've played them yet, but yeah, that's just reached its 5th anniversary.
Wow!
So
5 years.
Going reasonably strong, and we know that there's a follow-up coming next year, hopefully PSVR 2, and the PC platforms. Well, yeah, we've seen what the new ones look like. They look
thumb and finger tracking and all of that, like the Oculus.
Better than the PS Move.
Oh yeah, they're terrible.
So I'm looking forward to that. That said, it is definitely a niche sort of novelty, isn't it? Because as I say, I've got it. I'm still buying games for it in and out, but I can't remember the last time I actually got it out to play it. It's difficult. Has anyone got one of the PC ones, like a Oculus or?
Yeah, Rob does. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got an Oculus Rift, so it has to be wired in. I do enjoy it. I haven't played it much, mostly because I didn't really have the space where I was living previously. I, at some point, will be upgrading my PC spec, and then this PC, which is VR capable, will go downstairs, and it will become a media server and a VR rig. So I have that space downstairs to do Beat Saber, to do Vader Immortal, all of those sorts of games. It's essentially just paused for a little while whilst I get some other ducks in a row. But I really enjoy it. I've played a lot of VR. A friend of mine does, or used to at least, do open source dev work for VR stuff as well. So it's huge. It just needs a bit more of an oomph. I think in 30 years, it'll be even bigger. We've just got
as soon as it's not inconvenient, because that's the biggest barrier. As small as it is, plugging in the headset and being tethered to your TV is it's just annoying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Second, it's wireless to connect to a PC's power, then it will just revolutionise straight away. You've got things like the Oculus Quest, which is wireless, but the resolution and the power is much less in the headset than you get on a PC. Second, you can link the PC to that.
Well, you can tether it, can't you? You can tether the Quest.
You can tether it, but then
you
that comes with a wire.
Yeah, you want to do it wireless. No, 100%. I think AR is more the future than VR. But
Google Glass disagrees.
Yeah, but HoloLens quietly doing well. HoloLens is still ticking along in enterprise. I think if you can put on a pair of literally no more than a pair of specs and have an enhanced experience from that, a heads up and all of that, I'm well up for the idea of that. That sounds similar to me.
Wearing your glasses and being able to go out as you kind of do with Pokemon Go, but actually just with your glasses and doing Pokemon that way.
What I was thinking.
That would be cool.
Literally, that was the point I was going to bring up.
I don't think I'm going to be happy until we just have the full holodeck from Star Trek.
Well, either go that way with VR or like contact lens, AR the other way. I think the combination of those two,
like augmented reality. Like, Rob, do you know Sword Art Online?
I was thinking we need the Nerve gear now. That's what we need.
That's where they sit in a chair, lay on a bed, have a whole helmet on, and you don't move physically, but your mind's in the game, and you control your character that way, and you can feel things in the game.
I think
and stuff like that.
I think it's fair to say if we ever do reconvene in months or years time, there'll be new cool things, always new cool things, new advancements, new technology, and hopefully new and better improvements to representation throughout that as well, be it gender or disability or anything like that, anything that improves the experience for all. I'm excited to see where that moves in the next few years. But I do think also, guys, I think we're at the end of this. I think I'm going to start wrapping this one up. We're approaching the 2-hour mark, and I think therefore it's time to draw a close to episode 44 and also Experience Kills as it is right now. I thank you all, and then we've had other contributors who aren't here today, Matt and Chris and others beyond that as well, going back across the years. But I thank you all for your contributions and for how much you've added to this journey and to this channel over the years. Richard from being there from the beginning with me, and Cameron for the last 6 years, and Rob helping with the podcast in a weekly format over the last year or so, and Nathan for his multiple year contribution to Circling the Vortex, and then obviously Leah for her wonderful recent contributions, for also supporting me over the years for doing all of this as well as my lovely wife. So it's with a
It's not
sad,
stopping, is it?
It's with a sad heart.
No, that's not
the
stopping.
wife part. Well,
Okay.
it depends. She's really pissed at me about doing this, so maybe what do they call it? Irreconcilable differences could be on the divorce papers around the closure of Experience Kills. So yeah.
Wouldn't continue a podcast as the reason.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the lawyers would be a bit weirded out by that one, I suspect, the barristers. But no, it's been great chatting to you all one more time, guys, and talking games and bigger topics and film and all of that as well. And I'm gonna miss it. So I suspect it won't be gone forever. But for now, we're gonna pull the shutter down on Experience Kills. So yeah, thank you all. Is anybody want a last sign off, Richard? Anything you want to say at the end?
Just want to thank everyone who's given us some time.
Yeah.
We aren't the biggest show in the world, but the people who followed us really appreciate it, because this is work. It takes effort to put in, which is part of the reason why Ben feels you've got to stop in it, mate.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we'll be back, but if not, I have enjoyed it, and very grateful to everyone who's been involved and let me be a part of it. Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for the invite to, at the time, the XP Games, Ben. It's been great. I've had some great games. I've had some truly awful games. I've done some Madhouse reviews. Starhammer will always be something that's...
yeah, mate.
It's always going to be in my brain, because I was just an idiot for about a minute. Still implore everybody to watch the Starhammer Vanguard Prophecy video because of how stupid it is. But it's been awful. It's emotional, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is. I feel sad. I feel genuinely sad.
560,000 views in our lifetime, nearly 3 million impressions.
Bye.
1,100 and something current subs. Yeah, Rob.
Thank you. Mostly just echoing the previous sentiments. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of it. I've been playing video games for years, so it's been brilliant to be able to talk about them in like a current event sort of setting, to be part of that next generation launch and have that day one console experience with this sort of setup behind it. That was awesome. Having those experiences, it will always be why I remember the launch of the Series X. I remember the launch of the Xbox One because I worked it. I remember the launch of the Series X now because I was doing this at the time. And that will be a memory that continues until I lose what remaining marbles I have. So, I think I've even managed to restrain myself from doing any bad Rob puns in this particular episode as well.
Oh, we want Rob puns though. Think of some.
Serious.
Yeah.
Think of some Rob puns.
I will do my best. Usually they're in the moment. So, but yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Nathan, I want to say thank you for you joining us. I know it's not been your natural environment, so I appreciate that.
people. It's not my natural environment. No.
Not enough bad TV to talk about. So.
Thank you, Ben. Yeah, I guess a thank you to all our lovely little Sliders Redditors
Yes.
who've been there.
I'll be honest with you. If any of them have made it to the end of the 2 hours of this podcast, I'd be really surprised. But it's not. But I will be putting it on that channel as well, so that they have a chance to listen in. Leah?
Just obviously people haven't seen me that recently in front of the camera, but I have been the hands behind the camera for years. Whenever we did any, stop doing that with your eyebrow.
It's the way you said hands behind the camera. I'm like, that sounds so suggestive.
When we were unboxing things, when the Switch, the previous Xbox generation, any hardware that we got, the countless, and I cannot stress it enough, countless bacon sandwiches that man has consumed is ridiculous that I have made.
I'll need one in a minute, actually.
Yeah, well, of course you will. This is you.
Still got sausage rolls.
So yeah, just
I'm having Chinese.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Well, that's it. Yeah, that's so. Thank you very much to all of you once again. Thank you to all our viewers and listeners over the years. It's been brilliant. This is definitely a goodbye for now, but maybe not forever. So that's it, the end of episode 44 of Experience Kills. You can follow us on Twitter if you so wish, at Experience Kills. You can find me at DIYE, Richard at Colonel Red, Cameron at Camelot, Rob at Homeless Mr. Gids. Nathan isn't on the tweet sphere, I don't think, and neither is Leah. But until at some point in the future you may hear from us, that is a goodbye and thank you from Experience Kills. So, adios.
Bye.
Farewell.
Farewell.
Bon vivant! Yes! Bon viv fucking bon! I'd forgotten about Bon vivant. Thank you for that, Cameron.
You listen to lie.